Hi there, friends. This is Brent Heeris. I am a productivity coach, and my work with people is bringing everybody who listens into sustainable high-level productivity. So all of these videos that I post generally on a weekly basis, they approach some aspect of entering into and maintaining sustainable high-level productivity. But in this particular video, we're not going to be overly theoretical, and instead we're actually going to focus on a tool, on an implement that you can learn over the next few minutes, understand it, and then implement it into your life. Bring it into your life immediately to create results. The results in this case are increased self-control, increased self-reliance, increased self-trust, and a sense of, oh, I see, I can actually make this happen. I can actually create change in my life that is sustainable and long-lasting and permanent. This tool that I'm going to share with you, it is so cherished and so vital in my personal life, in my personal practice, my one-on-one work with clients, that whenever I meet my clients, whenever I begin my work, and indeed even in just the intro session, so when I only have like one-off session with them and it's not even necessarily assured that I'll be able to work with them for another session in the future, I make sure to teach them this principle that I'm going to share with you here. Because as long as they know this, as long as people know this tool that I'm going to share here, then I can rest assured that they have everything they need on the most foundational sense to create change and to stick with it over the long term. There's an elegance and a simplicity to it. And there's also a really nice balance between the masculine and the feminine aspects of change over time. There is, on one hand, it includes the masculine element of like going for it, pushing, willpower. You know, this, there's these figures, what's this, Jocko Willink, like there's some, I'm not sure that's his name. Like there's some people who really focus on like the masculine pushing, hard moving, hard effort element of change. But then there's also a counterbalance of the feminine aspect, which is stability, balance, sustainability, and setting ourselves up for the long term so that there's not a focus on exertion, but a focus on maintainability. That is all programmed into this tool that I'm about to share with you. So I'll get into it now. Just before I do, I want to share with you, there's two other things that I offer that I'm not sure if everybody knows about, and usually I mention at the end of the video, so I want to bring it up here. Just so you're aware, you can actually get a one-on-one coaching session with me for $5. It's only limit of one per person. I can't do this all day, every day. But if you're interested in trying out productivity coaching, you can have a session free of obligation or whatever for just $5. I suggest you go for it if you've ever been curious or if you wanted to go for it. Or if you're curious about just what it's like to be on the receiving end of coaching in particular. Amazing, amazing offer, amazing deal. I'm very proud of that one. The other one is I have a PDF reader and a follow-up video course that is also for free. So you can opt into my email list. You'll get an immediate download of this book called How to Get Yourself to Do the Thing. And the book actually teaches you how to activate yourself, how to set up your motivations and structures so that you actually do your work instead of procrastinating. And then from there is a follow-up video course on sustainable high-level productivity basics. And so this is just a lot of condensed teachings, condensed value. I get great reviews back from it. People really enjoy it. And I would like for you to know that it's there for you if you're interested in going deeper into this material. Because I have to, if I'm doing videos like this here, I need to, kind of appeal to a broad public, broad viewership. But if you sign up for the list, like we can go into like the really information, kind of calorie dense material in the training. So I suggest you go for it if you feel interested. Again, it's free and you can unsubscribe if you don't like it. So good. Okay, so with that said, okay, now we can get into the self-integrity protocol. That is the name of the tool. The self-integrity protocol. So the self-integrity protocol, what it is a series of 3 steps that you can use where if you have a habit or a behavior or a hobby or a business or literally any kind of change or any kind of evolution that you want to install into your life and make real and make manifest, you can use the self-integrity protocol to usher it in, to bring it in, to manifest it, materialize it, and make it real. It is a way of holding yourself accountable. It is a way of doing your best. And it's just the most mature orientation for making these changes so that you can get it done in the shortest amount of time and also do it from a place of flow. It's comprised of 3 aspects, which I will detail in a minute. And each of these 3 aspects are critical. There's a right and a wrong way to do them. And so I will teach you how to do them the right way and how to avoid doing it the wrong way. When it's all said and done, you'll come out of this knowing how to work with this self-integrity protocol. It should be native to you. It'll just sort of come online in you. You'll understand it, and the likelihood of success in any of your endeavors coming up will increase multiple fold. And I would like to say they will double. The amount of control and optimism will double as a result. And I realize I'm talking a big game. I know these are kind of really big dramatic words, but I promise you I'm doing my best to keep this measured and level, but I want you to know what we're dealing with here. And I would like to invite you to take this seriously. I would like to invite you to follow me through to the end of this film. I will do my best. I'll do my best to keep it short. I won't waste your time. But, this is the real core essence. This is a major central tool in my own, what's the collection of weapons? I don't know, but it's a major tool in my toolbox. That I use with great benefit, great results with other clients. So I would like for you to not gloss over this. I would invite you to actually take this seriously. Good. And then finally, one more thing is that this applies to everybody. So if your life isn't, say, a lot of chaos and you're really, really out of control and things are bad and you can't sleep and diet and fitness and everything's terrible, or if you're actually really in control, relatively successful, and you just simply are ready to evolve to the next level, this self-integrity protocol works in either case. You can take it wherever you are and bring yourself upward to the next level. Good. So going a little bit deeper into the self-integrity protocol. So the very, very core of it is to create a match, to create a symmetry between your word and your action. So the self-integrity protocol comes online when what you do is a match to what you say you're gonna do. For those of us who have too much difficulty with self-control, it always boils down to a mismatch between word and action. So we always say we're going to do something and then we don't do it, or we don't even say that we're going to do anything at all. And then obviously we don't do it because we didn't say we're going to do it. And ultimately there is no manifestation of what we see in our imagination. So I'd like for you to see that as a guiding principle going forward. And there is also another metaphor that is operative here, which is we can divide ourselves up into 2 aspects. One aspect is what we call the inner leader, and this other aspect we call the inner labor. The inner leader is who you are in a moment such as this one, when, say, you're getting coached, or when you're planning for the future, or if you're looking out ahead to the day ahead, or you're looking out to the upcoming week and you're thinking about how you want the day to go or how you want the week to go. And you're thinking about what the plan ought to be in order to create the best possible result. That is you acting as the inner leader. You are leading yourself. You're creating the plan. When the alarm goes off in the morning and you're getting up and you're going into work and you're doing all this stuff and it's time to execute the plan, that is you being the inner labor. You are in this mode, you are just executing, you're just doing the thing. If you were to imagine, say, a ship crossing the Atlantic, say it's going from Europe to North America, and you have a crew, so you have a captain and a crew. The captain and the crew have very particular roles. The captain's position is to call the shots, to issue orders, and to lead, and to get the crew from one side to the other safely. The crew's job is to receive orders and act. And what's required of the crew is a little bit different. The crew, the people on the ship will have a much better likelihood of survival if the crew is obedient and obeys and listens and doesn't question the plan, but instead they act. So we're going to get a little deeper into that. But that's the kind of, these are the two actors at play when considering the self-integrity protocol. So, good. So the three aspects of the self-integrity protocol go as follows. Number one is use your word. Make a declaration. Number two is to execute the plan. Number three is review. So declaration, execution, review. So I'll go into each of these three and how they work now. So number one, declaration, using your word. So without this step, if we don't do this, then nothing happens. There's no change. There's no hope of change. There's no hope of growth. There's no hope of evolution. There's no hope of actualization. If things are going a certain way, if a train is on a particular track, if there's no intention made to move onto a wider track or to move into a new level of life, if there's no decision made in that way, then nothing happens. So it is utterly necessary to use our word. A lot of us will avoid using our word or avoid making some kind of intention because we've tried in the past and we failed. And we do a lot of past equals future fallacy by saying, well, I failed so many times that I'm probably going to fail again, statistically speaking, because of what has happened. And nevertheless, it's important to internalize, and you can internalize this right now, that if you are unwilling to use your word and make an intention about the future, about what you will do in the future, then you will never actualize. Nothing will ever happen. It will not happen automatically. It must happen manually. You must do it, and you do it by declaring what will happen. So the right way to do this is to choose specifically what you intend to change. It's tempting to take a lot on all at once, but if we do that, then we run a risk of having a lopsided relationship between our word and our action. Remember, it's easy to say what we're going to do. It's easy to run our mouth and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do 100 push-ups every day forever. It's so easy to say that. So easy to say, I'm going to start a business that's bigger than any other business in the world. It's going to be like the top of the Fortune 500. It's much, much, much more of a different game to create that match between what actually happens and our word. And our priority, and I can't emphasize this enough, in the self-integrity protocol, our priority is creating that match between what we say and what we do. And so therefore, what is important is to create a measured, specific expectation. So if we're looking at fitness, instead of 100 push-ups per day, let's say 10 push-ups per day. You're not supposed to create an intention that impresses you. What is impressive now is following through on what you say you're going to do. So declare what you're going to do and make it just 10 push-ups. Make it about 10 to 20 or to maybe 25% of what you believe your actual capacity is, what your actual ability is, and make it your priority to actually follow through on it and do it. because, and we'll get into the reasons why that is so important, but that's what you want to do. So create a relatively low standard intention and be specific. We need to have specifics. It's not enough to say, I'm going to spend all day working on my business, because how can I look at what you did and evaluate whether or not you actually worked on your business? Like, did you read a book on business growth? Did you watch a YouTube video on it? Did you type out a paragraph on what you intend to do with your business? What qualifies as working on your business? You know, it could be anything. So we want to remove interpretation, any room for interpretation, and say, I'm going to send out 10 cold emails to 10 business prospects. I'm going to do 10 push-ups. I'm going to eat no food after 6 p.m., whatever. Specific and not asking too much, focusing on following through. Now, number 2 is execution. So obviously execution is incredibly important as well, because even though you've done step 1 and that's better than nothing, if you're not executing, then it's just words. And every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you weaken your self-integrity as opposed to making it stronger. When there's an increased mismatch, I'm sure we've all seen people who do a lot of lying, who like never speak honestly. They're really fake and phony as people. When you see it, there's no integrity, and you can see it on them. It feels weak. It looks weak. You just can't bring yourself to rely on whatever they say because you know it's not grounded in anything. So in order to be a person who takes their word seriously, it means to execute. It means also that you are stepping into your inner labor mode. The wrong way to be inner labor, the wrong way to execute, is to take this time when it's game time, when the alarm clock has gone off, when it's time to act and do it. The wrong way is to start questioning the plan and being a crew member posing as the captain. You don't want to do that, because the captain's job is to be the captain and the labor's job is to be the labor. So it's time to not be intelligent. You want to be a little dumb. It's time to be stupid. If you ever played Warcraft, especially Warcraft 2 or Warcraft 3, you want to be a peasant or a peon, which is to say you just take orders and just do it happily and dumbly and not aspiring to anything above your station. Just digging the ditch and singing a song while you dig the ditch. And it doesn't matter if you think the plan is wrong, if there's a sense of doubt of like, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way, I'm messing this up, I should be doing something else instead. That's not your position. The part of you that is invested in not evolving and not growing will say whatever it has to say to kind of boost your ego to become the captain during the execution phase, and it'll try to get you to abandon the plan. Your job is to not be seduced or hypnotized by any of that and just execute. Especially if the captain element of you was benevolent enough to give you something that you can definitely do, so that there is no way of talking yourself out of it. It's just 10 push-ups. And then finally, that brings us to the review phase. This one is the most hidden. Like, you might be listening to phases 1 and 2 and you're thinking, okay, yeah, I know. And that's fine, right? But, like these, it's possible to know these on a surface level, but these phases, these aspects of the self-integrity protocol, they go continuously deep. You can learn them and how they interact and how they bring about change. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper into these. These are lifelong studies. And the same applies to phase 3, which is review. The review element is how you take what has happened and you consolidate it into learning. It's how you metabolize what has happened. Imagine a bat and how they use their sonar screeches. You know how they screech and it bounces off of the walls and the rocks and the cave and comes back to them, and they use that to locate themselves within the room. Imagine that they put out these echoes, but it didn't come back. It just went out. How would the bat orient itself? And indeed, how would you orient yourself in your life with regards to your fitness habit or your business or your work? You said you were going to do something, and then during phase 2, you gave your best. You did your best. Gambate, as they say in Japanese. You really left it all on the court. You offered everything you had. And then now, phase 3 is what happened. This can be the most excruciating phase because we will need to look at our failures and our shortcomings, which sometimes happen. If we said we were going to do 100 of something and we only ended up doing 20 of something, or 0, because we forgot, or we didn't get around to it, or we successfully bamboozled ourselves out of doing it, there's a lot of inner strength, a lot of inner integrity that's required to look at what happened and take an honest assessment. Did you do it, and to what extent did you succeed? This is a time to be like so honest. We're turning on all the fluorescent lights in our room and just like really looking at what happened. And we're not sugarcoating it. But at the same time, we are acknowledging the extent of success. So even if we only did 10 or 20% of what we said we were going to do, it's a hell of a lot more than nothing. And you deserve to receive acknowledgement for that. It's very beneficial and important and mature and intelligent to acknowledge yourself for the extent of your success. Look at what worked, look at what didn't, look at the level of difficulty that you assigned for yourself in stage 1, and then begin the phase again, moving into phase 1. And this is still leadership, so it's all a leadership moment. Phase 3 to 1, 3 to 1, it's leadership. You're being the inner leader. Look out through the next period of time, the next week, and adjust the difficulty. Meet yourself where you are. You want to set a challenge that's at or slightly above what you're capable of. The most important piece is finding the challenge boundary. The boundary, your current limitation. Because everything that you see in your imagination in terms of like all the wealth and success and health and fitness and everything that you feel like you can step into, relationship, everything that you feel like your life can become, it's real. It's really real. You can do this. But you have limitations right now, today, in terms of what your maximum is and what you're able to do this week. So you're constantly at that limitation, at that level, gently pushing, focusing on sustainability. So that's what I was talking about earlier with this mixture of intensity and like that masculinity and that femininity, where it's like during phase 2, go for it, like really do it, really push. You know, this is the time to go hard as much as you can. But on a slightly more macro level, you're keeping it sustainable. It's not profitable to make the challenge so intense that we collapse out of the effort. We want to make it so that we're right at our level of challenge so that we can renew ourselves every week during phases 3 and 1, where it's time to relax, take a breather, review, so that we can just keep everything steady over time. That is the quickest trajectory, avoiding burnout this way. So that is the self-integrity protocol. If that was helpful for you, if you got something out of this, and if you feel like other people should hear this, would you please hit like? And would you consider subscribing? Because this is what we're doing every week, giving away value and giving away insight on how to stay in sustainable high-level productivity. So that's what I came here to say. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll catch you on the next one. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, leave it as a comment. And if you use this, please use it as a comment and let us know how it worked. Did it work? Did it create results for you? It would be really cool to know. So thank you for that in advance. Talk to you later.